Martin Houston, you want to go to the game with Marquise and I?
No, because tonight we play Bessemer City, and if we win that game, we put ourselves in position to go to the playoffs, and it would almost guarantee us a lot because Bryant has to play the regional undefeated Hueytown with Roydale Williams, who I'm willing to bet is going to put up 3 and some change on Bryant. So Bryant has to upset this team that hadn't lost in region to make it interesting about the playoffs. If we win, Bryant lose, his Stampede stays home and we go.
All right, so I take that as another rejection for Marquise and I?
Yes, that would be would love to, but I got to go watch my son. And
No, I mean, we
Jags. It would be a great game. I really wish ESPN had put it on Thursday night. Then it would have been, I'd been able to make it.
Hey, but at least hit the DVR. You got to hit the DVR.
Yeah, it's one worth watching. It's one that I'm glad you reminded me of that. I sometimes forget the ability of modern television watching. Ryan, I told somebody the other day, thanks to DVRs and pausing live TV, I'm a better husband and father.
Nothing wrong with that. But I mean, think about high school football. I guess it was at Tim Tebow in Nice High School was probably one of the first high school games that I can remember back in 2004, 2005, because we all thought we had a chance at Tim Tebow. Mike Shula made us believe for a few minutes, even though I think he played us.
It was a first national game that I remember involving an Alabama school. I think there have been a few others that had happened. An interesting fact about that story, Ryan, is that was Jeremy Pruitt's first game as a defense coordinator for Hoover.
Wow.
Look at the rise he's at.
Wow. What a jump. What a jump. Martin, what's been the big topic of conversation, man? We got a little anxiety here on LSU. The Alabama fans shouldn't tell me I shouldn't worry about LSU, but I shouldn't be worried, but I am a little bit. Somewhat.
I'm gonna give you and your audience a topic that I'm gonna address next week, Ryan.
Okay.
This LSU team is built to beat Alabama. Unfortunately, it's the Alabama from 4 years ago.
So you're saying they're running late on their plan?
Well, I'm not trying to be ugly. Nick Saban, this is. Go back and look at Greg McElroy's team. Go back and look at A.J. McCarron's team, and tell me what you see different between that and what LSU is going to put down. Our running backs may be a little bit better. Quarterback, when you talk about A.J. a little bit better, Greg McElroy is probably Burrows. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, I do.
You take this LSU team that we're playing Saturday, and you take it back to 2008, 2009, and they're seriously a national championship contender. But the reality of it is, man, you and I both have said 17 points in today's game is a shutout when you're playing against a good offensive team.
You're right.
I mean, you have to get to the 24 to 28 to 31 points before you're even talking about threatening a lot of these teams that are really good offensive teams and have any semblance of defense. Alabama's flipped the script on it, man. I like I said, they're built to beat Alabama. The problem is, it's not the 2018 Alabama.
Well, and you look at this team. Tua Tagovailoa admitted to USA Today via George Schroeder today with the article that was posted to USA Today that this team is he could not have envisioned this type of offensive production. He's admitting that to George Schroeder at USA Today.
Ryan, you didn't get to watch Alabama going into that game on 2 quarters of play is the 21st ranked offense in the country. Not the offense, just the first half production has them ranked 21st. And by the way, that's higher than Georgia and just behind Michigan. That's who the two teams and that was before we put up 40-something on. So we, at the halftime, Gary Danielson said, and Alabama just improved their ranking in the national numbers based on halftime production.
That is amazing. We averaged 38.8 points per game in the first half.
If that's we keep saying Tua hadn't played a fourth quarter, Ryan, he's not. In reality, even though he's played in the third quarter, there's been no game where a team has scored more points than we scored in the first quarter.
Martin, how beneficial will it be that this team is going to be so fresh down the stretch, that they're going to have some legs under them, and because you know plays and collision sport that we play, that these guys are going to have a lot of energy finishing up this final month?
Well, you know, we've had a couple of injuries, but not a lot of serious injuries, so that's huge. This bye week comes at the right time with Tua, and, of course, if Tua goes down and Jalen is needed with Jalen's injury. But as far as just the rest and the legs, having your legs, one of the things we always say is it's not whether you're going to play injured or whether you're going to play beat up, Ryan. It's how well you're going to play in that condition. And I think this Alabama team has managed to make it this point in the season without being beat up, without being worn out. And I keep hearing people say, well, they hadn't been battle tested. Did anybody see the national championship game last year?
But you know the rebuttal that would be that there's a lot of new faces compared to that team to this team.
Okay, so tell me why Alabama has gotten better every year. Why does Nick Saban we always question whether these guys are going to be able to play or not. It's because he gets the young guys reps. And, Ryan, what have we said for the longest? Alabama has harder practices than most of their games. And so I hear people saying that. I understand it, but that's not a concern. It would be a concern if we didn't have good leadership, both on the offensive, and we're getting better leadership on the defensive side. That's coming around. But I can't remember who it may have been on your show. No, it was it Chris Carter?
Yeah, well, it was Chris Carter. Yeah, we played it here on Fox Sports.
Ryan, he said something that just made me go, wow. I've talked about it, but never really articulated it. This new style of football for Alabama, our defense is not getting as much credit, and I've said this from day one, is I think they deserve. They're leading the conference in sacks. I think they're a really good defense. I just think that, you know, there's a lot of cheap points on this defense. But the reality of it is, Ryan, he said this team will be harder to upset than any of Nick Saban's previous teams. And I thought, that is so true. Because let's say, like you said all along, what if this is Nick Saban's worst defense in Alabama? This defense is still going to be ranked in the top 25 teams in the country. And when you got the number one offense and the number 25th defense, all the other number one teams in offense have had what ranked defense? 50, 65, 80. And they still make it to the national championship game. This team is going to go in with a bad defense, in air quotes, in the number one offense. An off game for Alabama this year is probably going to be in the 40s. If Tua has to play all four quarters, I'm going to take my chances that Tua can average getting his team in the end zone 1 to 2 times per quarter.
All right. And I was asked this question on a national show just a couple of days ago. I think it was on Wednesday. Made the appearance, and they said, what do you think the answer would be if you could ask Nick Saban this question without him exploding? How do you beat this team? Because obviously Nick Saban's a defensive-minded coach. What do you think Coach Saban would say to that? How do you beat this team? How do you go after this team?
I don't think there's first of all, you have to have the players to match up. And Ryan, from a defensive standpoint, this was just yesterday. Okay, who's the fourth best receiving threat on this team? Waddle, Irv Smith, Josh Jacobs, one of the running backs. Your fourth best coverage guy has to cover one of those guys. You don't have the numbers. You don't have that many good cover guys. We go 4 wide or 5 wide, it's going to be a mismatch. And then if you try to cover those guys, you don't have enough to stop the run. So the only thing you can hope for is what I call the Ole Miss effect, where this team absolutely implodes, turns the ball over, they're careless with the ball, and they just create a lot of momentum for the other team based on their lack of execution. And everything that I say, I always taper it with this. If Alabama comes out, this 2018 team comes out and played its best game offensively and best game defensively, and any other team in this country do the exact same, I think this team is 2 to 3 touchdowns on their best day better than anybody in the country. And I know that's crimson-colored glasses, but that's just what I see, that they're balanced. We got better against Tennessee. We literally got better. Offensive line got better with Deion Brown. We got better at wide receiver because of Waddle. We got better at running back because Jacobs showed that, hey, I'm not just some guy you can use in spot situation. I am a bona fide, legitimate starter. We got better at every level. I mean, so I just it's scary. It's good for Alabama folks, though.
All right, final couple of questions here. We're talking to Martin Houston, which hosts the Blitz mornings beginning at 6 a.m. Many times you hear the encore edition each evening, 6 p.m. Martin, let's go to this Georgia-Florida game. From an Alabama perspective, who do you want to win this game?
Well, from a fun story, I think Georgia would be a good one because that means we'd have that rematch. And I also think that this Alabama offense would expose Georgia's weakness in the back end. I think Florida's defensively is a little better team, maybe not as much young talent, but better defensive team. So I think that I like to see Georgia win it, but for the rematch is just the fun part of creating some excitement in the season, Ryan. I won't get excited if we play Florida. Even if Florida wins out, there's not any excitement there for me. So, but as far as which team I think is going to win, if Georgia can recapture the running game and not depend on Fromm's arm, I'm going to pick Georgia to win in a close one. But will not be shocked if Florida defensively causes the same problems that LSU did for Georgia, and then they're not able to stop them on that flip side.
Anything else grab you in the SEC this weekend? I mean, college football, it's a little, I don't know. Alabama brings the excitement, but then they kind of suck the air out of the place too.
Yeah, Ryan, it's fun, but it's also very boring. We're watching Alabama. I was on my way back from out of town 2 weeks ago and was frustrated because I knew I wasn't going to be back before the start of the first quarter. And by the time I got home, the game was decided. And I was, 30 minutes, well, what even 30 minutes late. But as far as I look out at the SEC, something that I hope happens, because to me it creates an excitement for next week, is Georgia beats Florida and Kentucky goes out and beats Missouri. And then it's the Kentucky-Georgia showdown for the SEC East. And to me, that would be good for the SEC in college football because everybody assumed that Georgia and Kirby Smart was going to be the rival for this Alabama team. And I said it last year and I said it again. Kirby Smart has done nothing more than what Mark Richt did. He played in a national championship game, Ryan, but the reality of it is he just met Nick Saban in a national championship game where Mark Richt had to meet him in the SEC championship game. So I think that'll be a fun thing as well.
Either way, it's going to be fun to kind of amp this LSU Alabama game up.
Yeah, it is.
we spent a lot of time, and I guess we're going to make those into world beaters, man. Nick Saban will have us convinced. Noon on Monday, you watch him. He will have us convinced that there's not much difference between LSU and the New England Patriots. You watch him. He'll do it.
Absolutely. You know, they're going to be a great team. They're going to be legitimate. They're going to be, you know, they play the toughest schedule. They have every right to be ranked where they are, and probably should be ranked higher. We'll get all of those lines, and he'll even cover for the Devin White thing of hey, they got plenty of talent. They had great recruiting classes, so as you say, just watch for it to be thrown on thick and heavy. But the reality of it is, Ryan, we'll talk about it all next week. We'll talk about these teams, but good season for LSU in terms of results. But the reality of it is, there was a reason that people picked them at 7-5, and I know they've won and are 7-1. Season's not over, and some of the teams that they've beaten are not as good. Miami never should have been in the top, and you know I'm not going to get into all of that, but you get what I'm saying. This team is not as good, and plus we own Baton Rouge more than we own Knoxville.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Martin, Houston, man, have a great weekend, and make sure you get those honeydew caught up, because you know this might be the last weekend until December, maybe even January. So without a little college football, man.
Well, I can take care of it on the Citadel weekend.
Well, that's true. Martin, have a great weekend, man. I appreciate you.
Have a great roll time, man.